Here. Yeah, I think I already mentioned how tired I was after working that retail job, but it was like a good, I moved my body and I need to rest kind of. I was sitting in the bed this morning, and I'm always the type that generally, I don't linger in bed. I got up early, but I was still like, okay, I'm up early, I'm gonna sit in the bed and get my journal while I'm sitting in the bed. Normally I'll sit in a chair, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit in this bed. And yeah, so we can go ahead and head on over to Publix. I don't think I'm gonna come back over here today because I'm gonna have some cold products. So I don't want to leave the groceries in the car and whatnot. So we'll find something to work to put in a bag. It can be something simple. So we'll just find something simple. Kroger is actually a nice place where you could pick up household things if you're equipped. Top Shelf is real good too. I'm gonna be having a coupon mature pretty soon for within the month of July, and I'm like, okay, when I get that, I'm just gonna cash that and make sure that gets in my account. My goal is to have my account be at a certain point, so I'm not really like, oh, let me calculate this in between paydays. I just want to have that. I used to have a much better cushion, but when I had to deal with the stuff at the K through 12 job, I actually used a lot of my cushion. Matter of fact, I used cushion to help with legal fees, and also I had some house stuff done, and yeah. I mean, I sold a lot of my stocks. I had another account that isn't investing with Danielle. I sold like Microsoft, and I sold Apple. I sold BlackRock. Some of my stuff that had made a lot of money, and I know if I wouldn't have sold that stuff, I'm pretty sure I would have had quite a bit of money. I'm pretty sure it would have been close to six figures based on the growth of everything. So, but I just did what I had to do to make sure I had the right representation when I was dealing with that situation at the K through 12 education job. I needed to make sure I had someone that was working on my behalf and giving me a perspective. I learned a whole lot about employee stuff. I mean, one thing I learned is, if you say, oh, well, I have text messages, and if you don't have it on a business phone, if you have it on a personal phone, and you decide you're going to do a EEOC complaint or any kind of complaint in general, just a general personnel complaint, and you say that you have text messages or whatever, they can ask, at least for the EEOC, to do a discovery on your phone. And that's one reason that I didn't want to do it, because I had lots and lots of text messages. And the other thing is, if you forward an email to yourself, it's best to print stuff, but of course you're not going to print it at work, right? You're not going to print it at work. So if you email yourself, you simply need to forward it to yourself and not make any comments. And I was putting on there, like, for example, proof that the counselor, for example, in 2000, I'm just giving random years, proof that in 2019, I met with the counselor and I discussed the accommodations. This is evidence I provided the accommodation. This is evidence I met. This is evidence that the counselor, even though I asked them to put all that stuff in there, they did not put what I requested. Well, shouldn't there be checks and balances? Yes, there should be checks and balances. There should be. I should, they should print off all those copies, and I should be able to view them at that time. But sometimes they finish them after and send it for the parent to sign. But I own it that, a meeting I had a week ago, maybe in the middle of things, I didn't do a follow-up email or follow-up phone call to make sure that they had in fact put in there. Yeah, you're right. I didn't police them. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kind of things I had. And that resulted in a complete audit when I provided the proof. And also with the dark triad person, they created a sample, and I gave the sample to the nurse to be able to have it in review. I was like, here's a generic sample, and just have this, and then when we have the meeting, we'll go through each of it and we'll modify it. That person said, oh, that isn't personalized. Write me up. They're concerned that I just, sometimes it's like I send it to them, I don't send it to them, this, and this. Oh, the plan is all wrong. You didn't give them right feedback. I provide documentation that it was provided 2 to 3 years ago. And each year we have an accommodation, and I ask them to do this stuff. And for whatever reason, the counselor, maybe they didn't do it out, or maybe they just want to have it their way, or maybe the teacher got mad and they decided to do it. And when they send it to me to electronically sign, then I look at it and I express some concern, and they're like, well, we're just going to leave it the same. So I guess for each one of those, I need to forward it to myself. When you forward it to, but then it's confidential stuff. You have to block out things. That's the kind of stuff, when you have discovery, I'm telling you that was a big, huge thing. And that's one thing. I'm in this YouTube membership, and it's pretty reasonable, less than $5. And one of the things the employer said was that stuff. And also, there's other thing. There's a tendency when you do a complaint, like I had everything documented and the dates and everything, and they use that against me. And it's almost like you shouldn't tell them anything. But if you don't tell them, they're going to like, well, what are the dates? What is the timeline? When did all this stuff happen? So if you don't share it, they're like, well, what's the problem? If you do share it, they'll take, in that case, the K through 12 education system I work for took it and used it against me. So there's another story about that. And what did that come from? Me selling my stocks for the attorney representation. I still need to get in touch with them because they offer some other services that are not related to employee rights, and it's something else that I really want to do. I'm not going to speak on it a whole lot until I get the funds so I can get with that attorney. They provide a specific service. It's just like I went to this one attorney that does business services to help set up the LLC. This attorney offers some other things that they set up. So looking forward to that, but I'm going to need to get the money all together and everything. It's something that I could do on my own, but I would rather have counsel to make sure that I'm doing things right. I'm in my 60s. I don't have time for missteps at this point. So, that's kind of what's going on right now. All right, everyone. I spent around $159, and I scheduled a $170 credit card payment. All right, so I got this from my mom. I got it as a thank you for hosting 4th of July. You didn't have to invite me, but you did. She's cooking for her husband, but she offered for me to come too. I appreciate that. So I got this I'm going to give that to my mom and dad. And it is a lifestyle design 4-piece kitchen set by Royal Crest Home Products. It has 2 kitchen towels, 1 oven mitt, and 1 pot holder. It's pretty cute. Kitchen towels here. It cost $7.99. Could I have gotten something cheaper? Possibly, possibly not. But the checkout person says, "Oh my gosh, those are so pretty." I'm like, yeah, these are a host gift. Now I'm going with my daughter-in-law to her grandparents tomorrow. But this is a host gift. Another one. This is what I got for them. 100% natural. That's what it says on there. Mix and match Royal Crest Home Products. Here's the back. There's the towel. Thought that was cute. Frankly, the way things are, they're expensive. This one person asked me, "Have you done anything fun?" I got on some Chat GPT to ask, how do you respond to that? My focus has been loving on my family, faith, gratitude. I have not traveled in years, although I have booked a trip of a lifetime in 2027. The locations and the exact date are pending, okay? Pending finalization, okay? What is it? It's pending finalization. I'm not going to really say it because then the person will speak on it. Some people, it's like some folks, they have to go somewhere all the time. I mean, I'm thinking I'm an extreme case in terms of no vacation. It doesn't matter how much fun you have, or all the fun, or all the parks, or all the games, or all the amusement parks. Guess what? You're eventually gonna have to deal with yourself and be with yourself and love your own company. That's one thing that not going on a lot of vacations has helped me, to enjoy my own company. Person keep asking me these questions. I'm gonna give them an answer. It's just like, people wonder why a lot of times I'm quiet. Some people are surprised I even do any kind of YouTube channels. Okay, let's go ahead and get this stuff in the house. Was that? Oh, that's my daughter-in-law. Oh, no, that isn't. That's a white girl. I thought that was my daughter-in-law. That's definitely not my daughter-in-law. That's a white girl. Oh, she's in a Toyota. Okay. That's not my daughter-in-law. They got white people in this neighborhood? They have a couple. I think white people are starting to move back in this neighborhood. They moving back into their Meemaw's house and decided they're going to come back here and make it work amongst black people. I put on this turquoise shirt. I was listening to, I think it's Sheba 7, and she's talking about you need to be beachy. And when a man sees you, when they see you, they need to think of the beach. Ooh! Okay, so I got this. This isn't like a color I normally wear either. I'm like, that girl is a trip. It's very counterintuitive to me. But she was talking about how you can, she was telling women how you could be a mermaid and a siren. And she was doing this stuff with the voice. Let me see if I can give a demonstration without feeling silly. When you talk to the man, it's supposed to sound like a wave. I just could not see myself doing that. When you talk, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Like that. I'm like, oh no. Can I just do what I did with my late husband and make some red beans and rice or something like that? I'm not in my 20s, but when people turn their heads now, it's just like, Hey, have you gotten information on Medicare? Hey, would you like to buy a phone plan? I don't miss catcalling or anything, but I remember in my 30s when I had my son. He was one, and this man says, "You are a beautiful woman." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." You know, I was looking pretty cute. I got my hair done and everything. He's like, "You are a beautiful woman." And another time, I was going to the Publix, and my son was about 4. I was pushing him in the cart, and I'm pretty sure I was 5 months pregnant. And this guy came in a big truck. He's like, "How are you doing?" He's like, I wonder where he is now. Where's Truck Man? Where are you, friend? And he's like, "Are you single?" I said, "No, I'm married." I said, "You do see that I'm with child?" He's like, "At this point, you look like very nice and well put together. I've been batting 0, and I would work with you. I could be like a dad figure." And I was like, wow, I should have gotten his business card. He was a good looking man too. Another time, all of this stuff is when I'm married. I wonder where Truck Man is. Oh, God, I wish I knew where Truck Man was. That man was fine. Anyway, so there's this other guy when I was married to. At this time, my son was about 2 or 3, and it was a Federal Express man. And he came into the clinic, and he's like, "I've been watching you." And I went, "Ah." I said, "Well, I'm married." I said, "Thank you for the compliment. You just made my day." I'm wondering where Federal Express man is, too. He was fine. Chocolate skin, like hazel eyes. He wasn't super tall. I think he was probably somewhere between, maybe he was 5'11" to maybe 6'1", but he was a good looking man. So anyway, Truck Man, I don't know where you are, Truck Man, if you're still like single and available. Truck Man, I'm trying to think of what year it was. It was in the late 90s, Truck Man, and it was a Saturday, and I had just got my hair done. I had on a cute outfit. It was like these stretch pants, but then I had a sweater on, and it was like a dress sweater. I looked real cute. I got my hair done. That was before I got that's when I had a perm, and my hair, I had just came from getting my hair done. I know I look cute. If you're anywhere, Truck Man, you know, my social media is there. Federal Express man. Ooh, you fine. I haven't forgotten about you, Federal Express man. It was in the it was after the Olympics, okay? My son might have been 2 or 3. Anyway, it was in the 90s, and you came in. It was a clinic in Atlanta, and some of the other nurses was up there, and you asked for my number and said, "Could we go out to dinner so we can get to know each other? No strings attached. We can meet or whatever." And I said I was married, and you know, I hope that you find your person. You seem like you seem like a complete gentleman. Boy, I was tempted too. That man was fine. So anyway, Federal Express man, if you're out, you're probably married by now, Federal. I'm pretty sure both of those guys, they probably married by now, because they look like they would have been 2 good catches. Okay, I'll talk to you later. I'm getting ready to go eat some food.